Alright guys, today's video is going to be about Starfruit. So I am in 9B, Central Florida, just north of Tampa, and if there's one tree that I might have planted too many of, it's Starfruit, or Carambola. Y'all might have seen these in the grocery store, and the ones in the grocery store are actually pick green. It's like a crappy commercial variety. I think it's called Arkin, and they gas them just like they do tomatoes to ripen them. These trees are super abundant. Like I said, one tree I might have planted too many of is Starfruit because I have like 10 of these and they can produce 2,000 pounds of fruit a year. We grow 10 different varieties. My favorite is probably Carrie. I really like the Hawaiian tongue variety. I have a couple of sour varieties. I have a Dwarf Mate here. I have a Shriek and Bangin'. There's all different types of varieties of Starfruit. These trees thrive on neglect. So as you all know, I focused on trees that grow really easily, that don't need a lot of love or care. They don't want to be out here babying stuff. So these trees are kind of plant it and forget it. I haven't given these any irrigation. I don't really fertilize them. The only thing I do is prune them to make it a little bit easier to access the fruit. So all of my Starfruit trees took 24 degrees for 6 hours 2 years ago. So they've all came back since the frost. They've all come back above the graft. And they're all pumping out super heavy. These trees can fruit 4 or 5 times a year, so they're kind of set it and forget it. So my number two pro tips I want to give you guys for Starfruit trees is they really hate wind. So putting these trees in a wind protected area like I have them in a forest setting like this, they seem to really thrive. The other second pro tip would be they like dappled light. So this tree doesn't need to be out in full sun. It can handle the understory. It can handle being in these oaks and still produce heavily. Just right next to you guys here, we have a tree that's just loaded in fruit. This is the 3rd, 4th time this year that it's fruited, just completely covered. This variety is a Newcomb Sour. So another little pro tip I'll give you guys about Starfruit. Some people probably can't eat these because they're really high in oxalic acid. That acid tends to be in the outer edge of the fruit. So you see how it has this green edge on there? You can literally just cut this off of there and get a lot of those oxalates off of the fruit. My favorite way to actually eat this fruit is fresh. My second favorite way to eat it, or drink it, should I say, would be juiced. And my third favorite way would be actually dehydrated. So all I did was cut those little edges of the fin off. As you can see down here on this end, that's a little green. So I'll just go ahead and cut that off. And then if I wanted to eat this, I mean, does it get much better than that? A fruit that comes off in little stars. Seeds are edible too. And that variety's a little bit sour. Let's go try a little bit of a sweeter variety. As you can see, this one's a little bit whiter. It's not going to get as orange as that other variety. This is that Hawaiian tongue variety, and this one's going to be a lot sweeter than that sour one I just had. And I was just in Earth Fair the other day, and one Starfruit was $2. I mean, these trees have hundreds of fruit on them each. They produce really easily. So if you live in Florida, you really have no reason in the world to be buying Starfruit. And this is a delicious fruit. It's one that kids love a lot too. The Hawaiian tongue variety is really nice, and it's a lot sweeter than that one I just ate. This is the only Starfruit tree I have on the farm that I would say is like not very desirable flavor wise. I definitely juice this one all the time. This is the Dwarf Mate here, and you can see this tree is a true dwarf. These trees grow really fast. I give them yearly pruning typically. I've only tipped this one a couple of times, and it definitely has a dwarf form to it. This is the fruit. And that one wasn't as bad as some of the ones I've had in the past. It's just not as complex. It doesn't have as much of a sweet flavor to it. It's just not my favorite, I guess we could say. So that was the best one of these I've had yet, Dwarf Mate here, but this is an actual dwarf tree. So one of the problems you can have buying from commercial nurseries around the state is getting trees that are mismarked and mislabeled. So I bought this one as a Dwarf Hawaiian, and it's probably one of the most vigorous Starfruits I have. Like, I struggle to keep this tree at 15, 20 foot. It's also one of my heaviest producers and favorite tasting varieties. And same thing with this. I'm going to cut that edge off of there. And this one is just beyond sweet. Probably my favorite one to dehydrate, my favorite one to juice. All around favorite Starfruit here on the farm. And honestly, I don't know the real name of this because it's obviously not a Dwarf Hawaiian judging by the size of the tree. Flavor is unreal. Really reminds me of the Bell kind of Carrie combination. Really sweet fruit. Last but not least, I want to point it out to you guys was Starfruit Flowers. So a lot of times we can have a tree that has fruit that are ripe, fruit that are developing, and then flowers. The Starfruit flowers are actually edible too, so they're kind of tangy, a little bit sweet. You can eat the flowers off of the tree also. All right guys, I need to get back to playing with my little man. I hope you enjoyed this Starfruit video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and do so. Be sure to hit that bell to stay notified. Most importantly, pound dirt.